Hey guys, ILene Vick here for Teaching Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. It is Tuesday, August 10th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I'm live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, get your coloring on. I'll be here for the next 3 hours. We can chat and laugh and chat and learn and have a really good time. Cool. Welcome to my Facebook peeps who come in and chat. And welcome to my Facebook peeps who lurk. Zoom out. Good to see everybody. Just be sure when you come in that you say hello, so I know that I can see comments, because sometimes I can't, which is weird. And welcome to my YouTube viewers too. This broadcast, when it's done, it goes to video and Facebook, and I upload it to YouTube. So there's all sorts of ways. And hi Mary, how are you? Good to see you. Pearly, howdy. Howdy Pearly. Okay, so I wanted to show you something really quick. I'm working on this background. Oh my gosh, I started this, I'm going to guess maybe 6 years ago. This is a Millie Marotta piece from Tropical World. And so I decided to go ahead and, or howdy doody, yeah. Mary got her Brut Funners today. Oh, Mary. And that's the 520, right? Is that the 520 set that you got? So I decided that I would start working on this little puppy again. And I've really been enjoying it. Oh, Mary. Weren't they wonderful to open? Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Excuse. Rita from Guatemala. Hi, Rita. Excuse me while I grab a tissue. Oh yeah, it's wonderful when you open those pencils and you go through them. Okay, so I'm just showing you that I'm working on this, so I'll be posting my progress on it. Who knows, I may color it a little bit on camera, we'll see. I know some of you guys have problems, Gesundheit, thank you. Some of you have problems with Mary Marotta because she's got all these fine details. You don't have to worry about that. You really don't. So anyway, just wanted to show you that really quick. And now I'm going to grab my pirate. Oh. I hope you guys have been enjoying it. Everything you're telling me is that you are. And I'm so glad that you are, because that's the point. Hold on, I gotta put something back here. Let's see here. Rhonda, hello. And Rhonda, thank you so much for expanding that explanation on how you colored your piece, your knights. Gosh, that's a beautiful piece. Okay. Any questions so far about what I'm doing with the pirate? So last night I went ahead and added some little, yeah, it made perfect sense. It did. I went ahead and added some rhinestones here and a button. And I'm glad you guys are enjoying my little doodads. Just don't get crazy with them, guys, or else you're going to ruin your piece. Okay, so no questions. And you know I just had to add one of these rhinestones to the earring. All right, so I'm going to play around with the sails a little bit. Zoom in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a base color of white Prismacolor. And what that's going to end up doing is it gives me a wax coating on the sails. And then I'm going to show you how to color white sails. Okay. Now, there's a ton of ways that you guys can color your pieces, whatever medium that you want to use. And I'd like to show you these different ways. So that you can pick out what you like best. Okay. Oh, Rhonda, I asked Rhonda to explain how she colored her fighting knights. And that's what she said, is I hope it made her explanation made sense. Which it did. Just remember, everybody, this is a teaching group, and so when you post, it's very helpful when you add how you've done something. Okay. Well, I've said this before, it really warms the cockles of my heart when you guys post and I see improvement. And somebody like Rhonda, who a few months ago did nothing but gel pens, and she listens to what I tell her to tell you guys. Beautiful stuff. Okay. So we want the sails to be basically white. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a very light gray. And I'm going to start shading in my edges of my sails. Now, I have a light and a darker gray. So my white is my lightest color in this case. Zoom in. Now, I don't want you guys to be afraid of your pencils and afraid of using your colors. And remember, when you put a base color of white on something like this, whatever color you choose, it's going to be softened. So here's my darkest gray. And I'll be putting that around my edges. Now I've elected also to go ahead and put some gray on the lines here of the sails because I just want them just to be distinguished a little more. How pretty. Isn't that pretty? You'll see it when I pull out. All right, let me adjust my camera here. I keep sliding the wrong way. Hold on. I'm gonna wiggle. There we go. Now the author has already gone ahead and added some shading as well. So of course I'll shade in those areas. You can see it here and here and here and here. Well, you can see it all over. Jennifer! Hi, Jennifer. No complaints from me. I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well as well. Okay, I hope you can see how pretty these sails are starting to look. And again, Linda Hirschenroder. Hi, Linda. Oh, Jennifer said, yep, doing well. We finally got some good rain today, which is great. Zoom out. Everybody see how cool that gray is looking. Linda says she's been popping in and out lately. Sorry. I'm not sure why you're apologizing, sweetie. You're good. Now, there are so many ways to do these sales. And I'm just showing you a different way now by adding that white first. Now, one thing I want you to think about is when artists publish their coloring books, some of them will hint at shading, but not shade the whole piece in so that you can go ahead and add your own bent to it. And that's another reason why I don't want you to feel that you have to follow it lockstep. And as you get to coloring more and more, you will see how to add things like what I'm doing here. If you're learning, that's fine. Follow me closely. But as you start to develop your own style, develop your own style, okay? And the other thing too that I want you to keep in mind is you need to decide if you want to go on a realistic bent. I've got to do a cute and creepy coloring. I haven't done that in a while. Or if you want to go with different colors. I mean, we could have done pink sails, right? It's a hat. Now, if you want to go ahead and add just like a little streak here, you can. Just a hint of it. But I want you to remember, these sails are billowing outwards, so there really is no crinkle in them. Right? Zoom in. And notice on this little guy, I'm not going all the way over with the gray, which leaves a nice effect as well. Oh, how pretty. Blend your pencil very, very lightly. Oh my gosh, butterfly kiss. Intending to use the side of the pencil. Pretty. Is everybody clear that there are some instances where you want to use the side of your blending pencil and not the point? Okay. Let me brush my desk here. And I'm going to bend this backwards just a little bit. Okay, now, in looking at this sail here, we're probably getting a little, a little bit of a shadow on this one, but also notice that there's a bar here. So I'm going to go ahead and just touch it with a little bit of gray. There we go. Now, what I also want you to notice, depending on how you decide to shade your piece, that as you shade your edges, the white centers are starting to show up more. So I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit of gray at the top here. Remember what I told you, that when you darken something, it recedes into the background, looks like a shadow? And I got a little bit of gotta change my eraser. by the way, does anybody that's watching have this AFMAT electric eraser? If you do, I want to show you something. Hello, Sarah. And if you have it, say yes. Let me know. Angela has it. Okay. So you have this exact same eraser that I've got, right? Jennifer's is black. Rita has two. Okay, I want to show you guys something. Okay. One of the things that drives me absolutely crazy is how much eraser you lose because you have to, it starts to pop out when you're starting to use it. So what I did is I took a pair of pliers and I crimped in the edges a little bit on the side. Hopefully you can see this. Oh, my nails are awful. That's all right. So these little bendy things right here, I bent mine in just a little bit. And I did them on the opposite side. So I did this one and I did this one. You can see the little crease line, I think. See it? And what that does is that allows you to have a teeny tiny little piece like this, and it'll still hold in the grippy. Oh, Sarah, sorry to hear that. So the right caregiver was with her, him, her. Her. So do you guys see what I'm doing with this little piece? I'm just bending in those right there. Do you see it on the left-hand side? How I bent that in just a little bit? And it has made all the difference in the world. So now I'm able to have a little teeny tiny piece like this and still have it hold it. So I hope that idea helps you. With your eraser nubs. Anybody have any questions about that? So I've been able now to get my eraser down to a little teeny tiny nub now. Yeah, it still takes the full eraser. Yep, yeah. It does. It just holds on to the eraser better. And then I just squeeze it together when I put it in. And now that little nubby, see that? It's staying in place instead of flying out. Okay, Miss Sarah has asked for a prayer. Lord God, Miss Sarah and her co-workers have gone through the death of a resident that they loved, and this lady died Saturday, and it's been very difficult. Lord God, I ask you to give these people peace, to help them through their sorrow, and to handle it, and give them the strength that they need. It is a sad situation for them. Lord God, I thank you so much for you listening to us. And I thank you so much for the peace that we are asking you for. In the holy name of Jesus, amen. There you go, Miss Sarah. So is everybody clear now on how I've bent this a little bit just to get that grippy on there? And you can even see the indentation on the eraser where the grippy is holding it more. See it? I'll tell you what, caregivers like that really have it tough, because obviously they form attachments. Angela says she's having problems with her right knee. It keeps giving away on you. Angela, are you putting a brace on it? I've actually got that same issue. Zoom out. Angela, are you putting a brace on it? Okay. Well, take it easy, Angela. We don't want you hurting yourself. All right. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of blue. I want you to see this. And I'm just going to very lightly put some of that blue right next to the gray on the sails. And notice that I'm confining that blue next to the darker gray. So Angela, what did you do? Did you... Absolutely a cane would help. All right, see how I put a kiss of blue on there, guys? I'm not even sure you can see it. Zoom in. Zoom in. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take a slightly lighter gray. And I'm going to work some of that gray at the top of my sails. You're welcome, Sarah. And what I want you to notice now, okay, you can see the blue, good. I've just put it right next to the gray, and I haven't done it on all of my sails. But this lighter gray is I'm now going ahead and I'm putting a little bit of that towards the top, except right here where I'm under the mast. And what I want you to notice now is that the center of the sails now are starting to pop out because we've gently outlined. I've got my medium gray right here on this one. We've gently outlined the sails. See how I'm doing that? So the dark gray I put on the left, the medium gray I put on the right. Okay. Angela, have you gotten one of those canes that stand by themselves? They've got little footies on them. Okay, does everybody see now how these sails zoom out? Zoom out. Okay, Angela, good. So on the left, I've gone with the darker gray. On the right, I've got the lighter gray. And I want you to see now how these sails are starting to really pop in the center. Everybody see that? Questions, comments? Okay. Hello, Helen. Hi, sweetie. Helen, thank you so much for that gift certificate. Did you see in my broadcast what I got with them? I tagged you in a post. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a background, and Pearly, let me get that sky done for you tonight. I know you've had family visitors. I've seen your posting, Miss Helen. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put a horizon line just about where his brow is. So I'm going to draw a very, very light gray line with pencil. Now remember, if you use graphite pencil, that can be harder to get rid of. Did you have fun, Helen? And then just very roughly here, picking a spot, I'll go ahead and put a shoreline on here. So we'll put that line right there. Now, some of you like to do the backgrounds first. I'm just going to change it up a little bit. Yeah, those were your nieces in the picture, wasn't it? Zoom out. And I'm going to pull out my Faber-Castell chalks. Happy to have to not wake up so early now. My parents are early risers. Oh! Okay, Pearly, are you ready for this? Okay, so these are my Faber-Castell chalks. Remember, you can use eyeshadow as well. And this is where I'm going to pull out my Fav sponges. So Pearly, do you have chalks or do you have eyeshadow? Either one will work. Oh, you've got both. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 shades of blue. Claire is visiting you on Friday? Oh, how cool is that, Helen? Okay, now when you're putting your sky in, zoom in. You need to think backwards, and by that I mean you're going to outline in blue where you want your clouds. Helen, how far away is Claire from you? This is color. This is color with Claire, the same Claire. Remember when we had Claire Edie visit? Helen, will you give her a hug from me, please? Now, I've got a couple specks on here. Let me see if I can get rid of those. Oh, 4 or 5 hours. Okay. She gonna spend the night with you and visit? Okay, does everybody see now how I am creating that cloud by going in a circle with my blue? Pearly, do you see how I'm doing this? Oh, okay, so she's visiting with her kids and hubby, and oh, okay, and then they're staying elsewhere. Yeah, she's got a son and a daughter. I think Zachary's one of them. Oh, I hope you guys have a ton of fun. Now, I'm trying to avoid the black lines of the sails. I mean, you can't really help it, so we'll revisit that in a minute. Okay, so Pearly, what I want you to see is everywhere that I'm leaving an area open is where you're going to have a cloud. So you're actually coloring in sky. So I don't even have to go through and make clouds. Okay, now these are windows, so they're going to be visible. And Pearly, it's a really neat and easy effect to do. So you don't need to have a stencil to put the cloud outline on. You can if you want. Hi, Wanda. And what I'm going to do for the moment is I'll go just a tad darker where my ocean's going to be. Yeah, Angela C, I would go ahead and get an inside one and get one of those ones that are freestanding. Angela, do you have family that lives with you? Okay, now notice how I'm tilting my sponge tip applicator to get inside of these smaller areas. So I'm using my applicator sideways. That's why I love these things. And I want you to notice that I'm not filling it in with 100% blue. I'm letting it go in effect spotty, because that makes it more like clouds. Your husband lives with you. Okay. The reason that I asked, I live alone, and so if I were ever to fall, I don't have anybody here that would know it. So that's why I wear my Apple Watch all the time. And any young lady that lives alone, wear an Apple Watch. Zoom in. Okay, notice how I'm using the side of the sponge tip applicator. To fill in my little gaps between the sails, and again, I'm not filling them in 100% with the blue. I'm letting that be soft and spotty. Does anybody have any question about that? And again, you've got to think backwards with with this, because you're putting in blue sky, which is creating your clouds. Zoom out. Good. Pearlie's got the applicators. There's something about that grippy sponge that when you use it, it really makes a difference. Hello, Angela Lyons. Angela L is in the room. Am I using natural light this evening? Actually, I have a lamp that I can choose different settings. Why do you ask, Wanda? Zoom out. Oh, a rolling stormy sky, grays. I'll have to keep that in mind for you. Yeah, there you go, Pearl. Twisting and twirling on kneadable eraser. Wanda, I've been using the different or the same light setting every night. Is this one better? Okay, I'll check my lighting. Is that better? Okay, so I'm using a combination of a lighter and a darker blue. Now, be sure on your sponges, you'll notice how this is starting to tear up. So you've got to switch around and use your other side. So Helen, when was the last time you saw Claire? And notice how I'm going in little circles? That way it keeps it from looking mechanical. Oh, you've never met in the flesh. Oh, how cool is that? Well, good. I'm happy for you. That's great, Helen. Okay, now, if you want to add a little bit of, let me brush this off. Let me make sure that my blues are even, balanced. That's the word I want, not even. So yes, Pearly, I can do a stormy sky for you. I would be glad to, not on this one, but on a future piece. Okay. I'll make her and her kids play my Garden Giant Jenga game. Ooh, that's cool. Helen Ellison has a giant Jenga game outside in her garden. It is cool. Okay. Now, what I also want you to notice now, I'm going to take a very light gray, zoom in, and I'm just going to touch the bottom of the clouds. And bam, all of a sudden, you've got dimension on your clouds. Everybody see that? I didn't know you'd painted some of the blocks, Helen. No, I didn't see that. Now, I want you to notice that the gray goes at the bottom, and then if you go about halfway up, that shows like that there's an overlapping of cloud. Does that make sense? What color did you paint them? Pearly, do you see what I'm doing with the clouds? Zoom out. Yeah, thanks, Helen. I think I'm just going to use the sponge for now. So on the kneadable, oh, you painted them in like candy bars. Okay. So on the kneadable eraser, what are you saying? Is just erase the blue with the kneadable eraser? I remember now that you did paint them. That was what, about a year ago? And what I'm doing, Pearly, is I'm putting like little smiles on the bottom of my clouds. And mixing in the gray. Does everybody see how that's now adding definition to the clouds? Because if you look up in the sky, squidgy eraser to a size edge you want. Okay, next time I cover with shadow, I'll do that. So just do a little smiley on the bottom and in the middle of your clouds. Because if you look at clouds, they're not pure white. Because if they were, you really wouldn't be able to see them. And just play with it. Happy little clouds. Does that sound familiar, folks? Happy, happy little clouds. So let me go ahead and put a little bit of gray in between the sails, otherwise it's going to look funny. Zoom in. And if you really wanted to play with this, I'm going with one shade darker of my gray. And popping in a little gray. Everybody see that? And notice how I'm like a scooping motion and twisting with my sponge tip applicator. Just don't get too dark with it and don't get too repetitive. So Helen says a friend of mine, of hers, sadly died a year ago, used to photo clouds that look like shapes. Oh yeah, can you see a shape of a cloud? Oh, absolutely. Zoom out. And if some of your areas are a little bit dark or repetitive, just smudge it up and change it a little bit. But just be sure that you get your gray in your clouds, because that's what defines your clouds and draws the eye to it. Anybody have any questions about that? And if you don't have eyeshadow or you don't have chalks, use your pencil. Use a very light gray pencil. And shadow in your gray. All right. Let me put my chalks away. Zoom out. Turbulent waters with a stormy sky. Okay, we'll see what we can do. Pearl, you are welcome. I'm glad to do this for you. Okay, so I'm going to clean up a little bit. Chalk gets a little smudgy. And actually, Pearl, if you were doing a turbulent sky, all you'd have to do really is put in your blue, like I showed you, a little bit darker, leave the areas open for your gray, and then start introducing a darker gray to the sky. And I'll show you how to do that. Okay. Now, I'm going to start playing with the water a little bit. Because that way we can go ahead and get this defined. Oh, Angela, thank you for the gift card. Good grief. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys, I'm telling you, Helen, thank you. Angela, thank you. Rita, thank you. I don't mind at all paying for the majority of this stuff. I just need help once in a while. Pearl says she's never had a mushy erasable gizmo. But you do have kneadable eraser, right? Oh my gosh, excuse me. Guys, quit making me laugh. All right, let me grab some water and we're gonna play with the ocean a little bit. Pearly, how long do you have? About 10 more minutes? Okay, Pearly. Kneadable erasers. There you go. Yeah, blue tack. I've never used blue tack. I've used the kneadable erasers. Okay, so I'm just going to start lightly putting in my ocean. Okay, Michaels, here I come. Okay, so I'm going to start with a very light blue. Now, I'm taking my X-Acto knife and my chalk, and I'm scraping my chalk onto my paper. In the general areas where I want to go ahead and start this. And when you do that, that gives you your thickest application of your chalk. And you can do a really nice layering with it. Zoom in. And I'm just going to go ahead at the moment and put down my base color here, just to establish my ocean line. Pearly, let me know when you need to leave. Now, you can get pretty accurate where you scrape this stuff. You can see how I'm getting in between his nose. Got a little bit on his nose, but no biggie because I've used my alcohol-based marker. And be sure that you get all the way up to your edges. Don't know why you're apologizing, Rhonda. Dry chalk. Dry. Oh my gosh, guys. Are you guys clear about this eraser crimping deal? I mean, look at that, how I'm able to hold on now to that little teeny tiny piece of eraser instead of throwing it out. Now, sometimes you'll get little wonky things in the paper like that white dot. I don't know what it's from. I may have spilled something on there or dribbled something on there, who knows. Okay, other side. Everybody see now how I'm just scraping that chalk onto the paper. And I'm just using my standard X-Acto knife. I'm not using my, that other one that I bought, that ceramic one. The cat did it. That's right. And I can't blame the putties because I close up my studio when I leave so they don't get into it. Now, like I said, you could be using gelatos if you want to do this. And right now I'm just establishing a base color here for my ocean. Now, I sprayed a little bit of blue here. Just brush it off. Zoom out. And Helen, feel free to offer suggestions to my viewing audience if you like. Okay, so I've got a little bit of a curve here with my chalk. I'm going to even that out. Okay. Now, I want my further distance to be darker. So now I'm going to take, oh, Wanda, I'm so sorry. Now, notice how I put that line here? And notice how I came down with my blue? And now what I'm going to do is take my sponge tip applicator and darken in my blue a little bit, and see how I'm just adding that, bringing that forward. And then just brush away what you don't want. Zoom out. Sandy, hello. And I'm using the edge again of my applicator. Any questions so far? Hang here with me, Pearl, for a couple minutes. Now, you know I like to tidy up. Rhonda, I don't want you to give up on chalks, and you know better than that. You were having a bunch of hesitations about grayscale, and look what you're doing now. And I hope you're going to try more than once. Zoom in. Okay, edge of my applicator. And then bring down that blue just a little bit. Isn't that cool? Anybody have any questions so far? Okay, Helen, do you want to explain that to my viewing audience here? Can create a good water type wave effect using wax base. Okay, so I'm just going to use a paper towel. And I'm going to go ahead and smudge that because I want that super, super smooth. Pearl, it is easy, Pearl. Just follow me exactly. You'll get it. Yeah, wax. Okay, so what you're saying, Helen, is wax, white, now I'm also going to add a little bit of a green chalk. So it'll be a greenish, turquoise color. And notice how I'm blending this in little circles because I want that green. To blend in with my blue. Isn't that pretty? Pearly is still hanging in with us. Okay, everybody notice now that we've got the blues and the greens? Pearly, let me do one more thing because I know you need to get going. I'm going to use a very dark blue. I'm using the edge of my sponge tip applicator. You can see that. See that? And we'll go ahead and I'm not going to make a solid line across. I'm just going to dab at it. And this needs to be horizontal. So if you screwed up, erase it and fix it. And then notice you can bring down a little bit of blue as well into other parts of your piece, of your ocean. Look at pictures of oceans, guys. They're not one color, are they? Zoom out. Okay, now tomorrow night, what you can do, last thing, Pearly. Right, and I haven't even added my white yet. Okay, so now I'm going to take a pencil. This happens to be an Arteza. Zoom in. And you can go ahead and add a little bit of more color here if you wish. And then bring it down, and then of course you've got to blend it. Chalk, eyeshadow, and colored pencil get along beautifully. And by no means am I done with this, so we'll be doing some other things with it. Just be sure that you blend, okay? All right. Okay, Pearly, I know you need to go, so I'll stop right there on this. Zoom out. Zoom out. There you go. You can use a little bit of blender pencil if you need. But you want to soften that up, right? All right, Pearly, get out of here. Love you, sweetie. You're welcome. Anytime. Let me put my chalks away so I don't dump them. Good night, Pearly. Good night, Pearly. Good night, Pearly. Good night, Pearly. So glad you could make it tonight. Love you, sweetie. Okay. Let me clean off my hands of this chalk because I'll be getting fingerprints all over this silly thing. Ahoy, Dawn. Good to see ya. Zoom out. We're getting into lots of trouble tonight. I'm so glad you could make it, Dawn. Good to see ya. Our membership is popping. Whoop. That's right, that coloring contest. The prize are Dawn's books, autographed if she's sending them in the U.S., delivered if she's sending them overseas. We got it. That turtle is turning out beautifully. How do you like my pirate, Dawn? We've got him all jeweled up too. And an earring decoration as well. Oh, just delivered. Okay. Angela, Dawn announced a contest with coloring that turtle that we were doing. It's in announcements, and the picture to download is in files. I'm glad you like my pirate, Dawn. Thank you. Well, it's still going on, Angela. Love to have you join. I have to put miniature firecrackers glued to his beard once the coloring is done. Blackbird supposedly did that to scare the crap out of the crews on ships he boarded to steal. Yeah, you can still enter the contest, Angela. Absolutely. Okay. Miniature firecrackers. Wow. Angela, you download the image that's in the files in announcements, color it, and then upload it to the into that file, same file folder when you're done. And then Dawn will take a look at it and pick a winner. And if you already have Compass Roses, then she'll substitute a book for you. Okay. Would love to have you join it. Oh gee, there's only 118 books to choose from. Alright, let's get some color on our pirate here. Zoom in. Shame on you, Dawn, for only having 118. Okay, so we're going to do the skin. Notice how I'm Oh, Dawn, I'm delighted that you zipped in and said hello. Thank you. That's right. Be sure to, when you color your image and upload it, you add it to the same album. You'll see, Angela, people that have already put their images in there. Dawn, you have a wonderful evening. Sweet dreams, sweetie. Love it when you come in. Good night, Helen. She's going to drift off to sleep now. Okay, skin coloring. Remember that you want to go ahead and put your darker color to the outside. That's your shading. Don't behave too much, Dawn. You either, Helen. Now, this happens to be a bread funner called, what is this? Maple sugar. Zoom out. And don't forget, when you're coloring skin, you're creating that shading, and that's starting to give your skin what? Dimension. So the skin color that I put down with my marker is considered to be my light color. This is my dark color where I'm adding the shading. Think grayscale, guys. This isn't grayscale, but think grayscale. And now I'm going to take my medium brown. So this is my dark that I just had. I'm going to take a medium brown and I'm going to blend it in next to the dark that I just put there. Zoom in. Everybody see how I'm taking my medium brown and I'm blending in where on the edges where I just put that dark. Isn't that beautiful? Everybody see how smooth that skin is getting? So that medium is going right next to my dark. And I'm blending all those edges from my dark with my medium pencil. Any questions? Okay, I'm back. I was bumped from my broadcast on Facebook, so I just had to go ahead and restart. So I'm here. You won't notice it on YouTube except the fact that I just mentioned it, so you'll just see that as a minor break. Okay, so as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, yes, Wanda, I can see you. Thank you so much. So what I started to say now is I'm going to take my white pencil and very, very lightly now I'm going to highlight those areas where you would see the higher points on the face. So we'll go ahead and get that. Anne, hi. Rhonda, welcome back. I'm back, I'm back. Okay, so notice now how we've got that white highlight. On the cheek area, I've got it right above the eyes. Zoom in. Zoom in. And this is where if you want to go ahead and add any facial features, you might want to go ahead and add a little bit of a smudgy scar. See how I'm adding that? Oh, thank you, Ashley. You said you need to finish yours. Love your background so far. Yeah, I've just got my colors roughed in. Thank you, Rhonda. So remember, guys, keep your grayscale training in mind. The light was my base color with my marker. The dark was my outline, and then into the craggly areas, and then my medium in between that to blend that in. And then we've got a little bit of white on those areas that are higher on the skin. Zoom out. Zoom out. Hold on, guys. Because remember, you're going to have that wax buildup if you put too much on there. Now, where did I put the light parts? The cheek, over the eye, a little bit on the nostril, a little bit on the front of the chin. So I don't want anybody saying that they don't know where to add that. You'll figure it out. Alright, so I'm thinking that skin looks pretty good. Zoom in, zoom in, and if I'm smart, I'll leave it alone. Zoom out, zoom out. Ooh, a buglet who fell over. Oh, it's a lightning bug. Hold on. Now, this area for the ocean's looking rough. Don't worry about it right now. Perfectly okay. Alright, I'm going to tidy up on the headband now. Again, you guys know I like to keep my areas nice and clean. We are looking good. go ahead and reload my eraser. Rhonda, are you still in the room? And is anybody having problems commenting? Sounds like something is rubbing my mic. Okay. Is that better, Wanda? Thank you, sweetie. All right. So let's go ahead and, yeah, rough night with Facebook. Doggone it. So let me go ahead and play with the ocean that's on his head. I really hate that, Rhonda, that, you know, I've got nice continuity going and just flowing along and doing well with the skin, and boom, we get kicked. What's that saying? We can send a man to the moon, but we can't have consistent, decent Facebook broadcast. Zoom in. Zoom in. Okay, so let's go ahead and play around with the ocean on his hat. So I will pull a neat dark blue here. And again, guys, every time you pull a dark, a medium, and a light, whether you're going to use them or not, zoom in. All right, so let's go ahead and do our dark areas. And then I'm going to blend next to that dark with my medium. Oops, forgot. Here, hold on. So I'm going to put my medium blue right next to, well, I go on top of my dark a little bit, and then I come over with my medium. And the way to look at it, the way that I look at it, Rhonda says, so funny, I do the 3 colors automatically now. I wouldn't even think of picking out just one color. Excellent. Now, why do mediums go to dark? Because when you look at something that's dark, it gets lighter and lighter and lighter. So that's why your mediums work beautifully next to your darks, right? Looks a little messy because it hasn't been blended yet. Does that make sense about dark mediums and lights, guys? And now I've got my light blue. But I'm blending over all of this. Now, if you don't want to carry your light blue too far, just carry your light blue up to the, just a little bit on top of your medium blues. So you're going to blend that edge. And Rhonda, I'm so glad to hear that now, that you wouldn't even dream of picking up just one color, that you automatically pick up the 3. Zoom out. Now, sometimes when I'm blending, instead of using white, I'll use a light gray. Zoom in. Zoom in. So if you don't want that white on your blending and you don't want to use your blender pencil, so right now I'm using a light gray. And what's that doing, see that? It's a cold gray, Faber-Castell. And what it's doing now is it's beautifully blending up my colors. And everything is getting very soft and blended, which is what you want. Oh, is that pretty? And if your dark blue is a little bit too streaky and too in your face, then concentrate your blender pencil on top of it. Isn't that pretty? And I'm sorry, I didn't mean blender pencil. I meant the light gray that I'm blending with at this point. Zoom out. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my actual white. And right at the curve of the water, I'm going to add that white spot. See that? So right at the top where that shine would be, zoom in. So right here where we've got the water cascading, well, it's going this way, but see, we've got that white. See that white on there? And all of this is going to make sense in a minute. Okay, now we've got the foamy part. Oh, I forgot a spot. Hold on. So there's my dark. Now remember, when you're picking your colors, let's talk about that a little bit. When you're picking your dark, medium, and light, you want them to bridge in a way that it makes sense. So in other words, you don't want like a super dark color and then your next two being a very light and then another light. The transition has to make sense. So if there's a sudden jump in color from, let's say, your dark to your medium, you're not picking your colors correctly. Okay, so I'm blending with my light pencil here. You can still see my other blues beautifully. And then I'm going to pop in my white. to indicate that high point. And it looks crumbly, but you just brush it away. Zoom out. Questions, comments? You guys all on the same page? Okay, so now I'm going to color up this foam that's coming from the waterfall that's underneath the boat. And I'm going to start with a light gray around the outside. Now, I want you to think about that. Zoom in. When you see water mist up, this is where the blue disappears, right? And you're tending to see your whites. Well, your white foam is going to look like what? Your white clouds, isn't it? Everybody see how I'm doing that? Questions, comments? So the white of the page is the light color. My gray is my medium. And now in the areas where the author has shadowed, I'm going to put a very, very light blue. Not much. Now, I've got to add in something. This is supposed to be, I'm sure, water splashing. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a few little doohickeys on these, for lack of a better word, because we want to make it look cohesive with the foam. And then I'm going to go back, since my ink hopefully has dried by now, and go ahead and add my gray around my dots. And then my little teeny tiny touch of blue. Zoom out. Questions, comments? You guys get any quieter, I'm going to start hearing crickets. Okay, and now I'm going to go back. This is just my personal flavor here. Zoom in. With my light gray, hi Rhonda, she's waving at me. And I'm going to go over that blue that I just put on there. And I want you to see how beautifully, look at this. That blends that blue in. See that? Guys, it's all about your blending. All right. And now I'm going to take my little Tombow eraser, which is my little micro eraser, and I'm going to erase in white highlight. Everybody see that? See how that white now is coming up beautifully? Don't forget, your eraser is a beautiful drawing tool. Look at that, guys. Isn't that cool? Zoom out. What do you think? Do you like how it looks? Let me grab some water. Okay. I think we're looking pretty cool, and it's coming together. I just noticed a couple of areas here where I missed with my eyeshadow, so I'm just going in with my pencil. And then I'll blend that in. There we go. Questions, comments? All right. Now, if you wanted to add a little bit of oomph to your creation, take your Arteza pen and add a little bit of white. Now, I want you to notice that I'm using a combination of a dabbing. Angela, I don't know if you're here, but I'm dabbing that color on the pen. And then also moving it around a little bit after I dab it on. Zoom in. Oh, look at that, guys. There you go. Okay. Now, I'm in the mood to do a pretty bold dragon on here. So that's going to be, and I think I'm going to go with some reds. So I'm going to pull my dark, my medium, and my light red. Give me a moment while I select my colors. Now, I've found reds to be the toughest colors to work with. I'm not overly thrilled with the selections of reds that we get. But let's go ahead and start this. Zoom in. So I'm going to start on the scales just because. Now this happens to be a Crayola red. It's the twistable, in fact. All right, there's my dark. And now I'm going to come in with my medium pencil. Now we don't have a lot of space here. And that being the case now, I'm not even going to bother with my light. But you see the two colors. And I'm going to take my blender pencil. And I'm very, very lightly going to blend mostly on my medium color because I still want that dark to not go away. But sometimes it's unavoidable. So in this very rare case, I'm going to take a little bit of black and I'm very lightly going over one edge. So as you can see, that's the edge to the left. Now, looking at my screen, that red is still not blending in beautifully. So I'm going to completely avoid my black and work on getting that to come in better. And then with a very sharp point, I'm going to highlight in the center of these reds. Oh man, these points keep breaking. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. It looks wonky close up, it looks great from a distance. I'm sorry, that just amuses me. There you go. If that doesn't look scaly, I don't know what does. You like it? I like it. Now, sometimes you just gotta get fussy with your smaller areas. All right, we got us a dragon. Let me color one more segment of him. Zoom in. Zoom in. So I'm going to work this in browns. So this is my darkest brown at the moment. This happens to be the Kaput Mortum, M-O-R-T-U-U-M, Faber-Castell Polychromos. So this is my dark, right? So now I'm going to use my medium brown. And you guys notice where I'm leaving the white area open, because that's going to be my highlight, right? And then I'm going to take my white but before I do that, I'm going to zip out a little white spot here on that top scale. See how I did that? And then I'm just going to touch up these white spots as well. And then I'm going to blend my white on top of these lighter spots. So I'm pulling in my medium color, right? What does the word blend mean? There you go. Zoom out. And if you want to fuss a little bit with that, with the openings, you can. Change the shapes a little bit if you like. It's up to you. Zoom out. So there we are so far. It's almost 10 o'clock. Time flies. Zoom out. Questions, comments? Rhonda likes my pirate face. I like my pirate face too. I like his earring. Okay guys, I'm going to call it an evening. And don't forget now, as you go along, you can go ahead and fine-tune your coloring. That's my tweaking stage that sometimes I do early. Now look guys, I don't want any of this to throw you. On this green a little bit, I'll be adding a little highlight. See that? Now, again, I like to move around, as you guys know. And to me, that's like making it fit like a jigsaw puzzle. I don't particularly like to do one area and finish it and then move on. To me, there's too much dynamic stuff going on. See how we can add this a little lightness on these feathers? So there's the difference. Okay. I will quit, because if I start tweaking, you'll be here all night. Alright guys, thanks so much for being here. Dragon looks wonky, but you know it'll get there. I hope you like the waterfalls coming off the hat. I had fun doing that. Alright guys, this is ILene Vick for Teaching Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. Joyous, joyous coloring. Keep being kind to each other like you guys are. I love you guys for it. I've got to do the ear too. We'll get that done. Alright guys, take care. Rhonda, don't be afraid of your chalks, please. Alright guys, I'm out of here. Bye.